first thing in your schedule is that I've actually divided the entire development into 7 stages, and I'll explain each one of them what they are. And the reason I've broken them down into 7 stages is because these are the stages where the developer needs to actually inject money. So in real life, all the financial feasibility applications that I've used so far, you got to allocate them monthly, and you can do that here as well. So in here you can allocate all your costs monthly and everything. However, when you are looking at your cash flow and how much money you got to arrange at every stage of the project, that doesn't happen every month. So you don't say, oh, let me check how much money have to come up with next month, so that's the only money that I'll arrange as developers equity for next month. You do it every stage because you want to look at, okay, so I will need 200,000 in for the next 3 months. Then I'm going to need 400,000 to get to the building permit stage, or to get to town planning, or to go through my marketing and sales, or to go through any different stages. And that's the reason I actually broke it down into all these different stages. Now, I've actually not turned them blue, is because they are very general stages, and they are the same anywhere in the world. So whether you're in Australia, this is an Australian version, or whether you are using the international version, these stages will remain the same. The only thing is that everything stops here at stage 6, which is where the settlements start. But stage 7, there are certain expenses that you can't determine at what stage they are going to occur. And there are certain expenses that happen from the start of the project, and they keep happening towards the life of the project. And I actually tried to allocate them into stage number 7, which was project span from start to finish, which it says S2F as per the project management terminology, which basically means that it starts, this span would start from the start of the project and go up until the end of the project. Then I've got these little acronyms here, which are basically the same things. The stages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. LA stands for land acquisition, town planning, building permit, marketing. CS stands for construction. ST stands for settlements. Settlements is the time when you actually sell off your project and you realize the profits, or they realize the revenue from all the sales of everything that you have developed comes back to you. And S2F is basically from start to finish of what that is going to be. Now, so we've got at all of these stages, this is what I was trying to explain, that we've got equity, that your cash for the land loan, then some of the other stages have to be carried on by your equity. And then you've got equity, your cash, or the land loan you've got to pay out based on your LVR. And then you've got, again, equity or retail or operational loan, or you got to refinance it if you want to hold the units. So they require different equity injections. And when we do that, we don't do that, we do that monthly, but I like to see them by stages of the money that I would require by every stage. It has no impact, all the calculations I've done on a monthly cash flow. However, these stages are also added as part of it so that you can better understand how much money would it be required at different stages of the project. So this is a Gantt chart of these normal, basically all the normal stages that we've got. So in here we've got a stage where we've got land acquisition. Now, land acquisition hasn't got a predecessor. That means that it is not dependent on anything else. It can actually independently, you can sign a contract here and then carry it all the way there, and you can start up or not start all the other activities that are happening along with it. Town planning, again, you could sign the contract here, but you could be in agreement with the landowner that you'll be able to start town planning even before you settle on the land. So that is also independent of your land acquisition. And then you've got the building permit, but you can't actually have a building permit or get a building permit unless you've actually gone through the town planning process and you got a town planning permit or DA or rezoning permit or whatever. So that building permit stage is actually dependent upon you completing the town planning stage. With marketing and sales, again, you can start at any time after you've got your town planning permit, but you can't do it before you've got the town planning permit because you haven't even got what you're actually building. So you haven't even got a permit. So what are you going to sell or what are you going to market? So that also is dependent upon finishing the town planning stage. Construction stage. Now, construction stage is not dependent on the marketing stage. However, it is dependent on you getting a formal building permit or building approval. Unless you've got that, you can't start your construction. So construction will never start before a building permit or a building approval has been approved. And the settlements, again, will never start unless you've actually completed your construction. So nobody, unless you've got an occupancy certificate or an occupancy permit from an authority that says this, whatever you build is habitable now, so you can't actually sell it to somebody or nobody can actually start coming in, or you haven't got the titles issued and so on. So that's dependent on this stage, and then that's when your settlements would start after you've got your completion certificate or when your construction is actually completed. So once this is done, then you can start your settlements. That means you can start settling on whatever you build. And project span start to finish, that goes from the start of the project right till the end of the project.